Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on this Friday morning. As you can tell, it's really sunny where I am, so I hope that's the case where you are. We've got quite a few people joining us, so just while we wait, if you're new, feel free to pop in the chat function, just introduce yourself, say hello. Obviously, if we were at a face-to-face event, you'd all be able to network beforehand, meet each other. So don't miss out, say hello in the chat, bit about your business. If you want, let me know what your plans are for this weekend. I think I might be getting out in the garden as well as taking a walk, no changes there. But if you've got anything different that's obviously allowed to happen, then let me know. I'm up for some new ideas. So Kathy, what are your plans for this weekend?
It's actually to continue on doing something that I started last weekend as a bit of a hobby. I do furniture painting, and I'm painting up a table in the most fantastic green at the moment. The only problem is it's got barley twist legs and it's gate leg. So in order to get into all the nooks and crannies, I usually end up with paint all up my arms. So yeah, I'm onto the waxing stage this week. So yeah, should be finished by Sunday.
Love that. I hope you're going to put a picture on one of your social media.
I've got my befores and afters. Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Thank you. And Emma, what about you?
Kathy's going to wrap my knuckles, but I'm going to be working on stuff for our business. I'm very
honestly, your dedication, you two, is crazy. Just make sure you don't burn out.
I've always said to Emma that the thing is, if you're going to work weekends in your business, it should be choice, not necessity. So if she chooses to do it, that's absolutely fine. But that's okay. But I keep telling her she needs to work a bit less.
Love that. Right. So hi, Valerie. Thank you so much. Oh, and also, sorry, I forget to say this. When you're sending messages, just send it to panelists and everyone and all attendees so everyone can then see. Don't want anyone feel left out. Claire says, banana bread, anyone? Do you know what? I still can't master banana bread. I've tried it so many times. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's the oven. I just can't get it. It's just a soggy mess. So even though I love to eat banana bread, I'm rubbish at making it.
I do a gluten-free one from the Hemsley and Hemsley cookbook, and it comes out perfect every single time. So
okay,
that's
share the recipe with me and I'll see. I've managed to conquer like cookies, gluten-free, chocolate brownies. I can do amazing sausage rolls, but banana bread, no. Hi Liz, here from Mojo Activewear. Looking forward to some nice weather. Yes. Happy Friday. So this is from Andrea Smith. Hi Andrea. Happy Friday all. It's been a full-on week for me with networking webinars. I feel so much more positive this week. A combination of the lovely weather, lockdown timetable, and meeting lots of great people. Do you know what? I feel like today is a really good day. I've had some really good conversations this morning, and I always look forward to running virtual events with Kathy and Emma. So yeah, this is a great way to end my week. Hi Alex, founder of Home Street Home in Great Yarmouth. Looking forward to a busy weekend serving up tasty food. Love that. Alex, what sort of food do you serve up? I'm a massive foodie. Love food. So yeah. Hi, who's this? And then we've got Andrea Hardiman. I love this because they were both on at the Chamber Connect yesterday morning. I run All About the Message, a Norwich marketing company helping SMEs grow their business. I develop marketing strategies, refresh brands and website, as well as create social media campaigns. I'm going to be in the garden, lots of tidying up to do, as well as choosing colours, all to decorate my office. Love that. Hi, Holly, owner of Grow Wild Forest School. Oh, I think I've seen advertisements for this near my house. This sounds like a great idea. It's in Norwich. Nice to virtually meet you all. My video does not work, but I can hear you all. So your video isn't meant to work. This is a webinar, so you can see and hear us, and you communicate via the chat function and Q&A. Okay, there's so many of you, so just hi everyone. I'm conscious that I want to give as much time to Emma and Kathy as possible so they can help you grow your business. So I'm going to do a very brief introduction and then hand it over to you lovely ladies. As you can tell, I'm just not organised. I'm too excited about everything that's coming up. So thank you so much for joining us on our Next Recovery Programme event. This series has been designed to support businesses to restart, rebuild and renew. So build your business with the Google Toolkit. Can you imagine life without Google? I know I can't. It's become so much part of everyday life that it's become a verb. We are all off Googling something. But have you ever considered how useful Google is for your business? Not just as a search engine, but as a collection of tools that can help you manage, market, and measure impact of your business. In this 2-hour virtual masterclass, Kathy Ennis, founder of Little Piggy, and Emma Goody, founder and CEO of 24 Fingers, will cover the 7 key Google business tools, what they are and what they do, how to use the Google Toolkit in your business to increase customer engagement, how to measure the online impact of your business using the Google Toolkit. So during the presentation, there'll be live Q&A sessions where Kathy and Emma will answer your questions. So please use the Q&A function when you have a question. Now, normally we're quite prepared and I know who to hand over to, but I'm not going to lie, we were chatting in the rehearsal rather than doing what we should be doing. So I'm going to guess that I'm going to hand over to Kathy because that's who I normally do. But yeah, over to you. This is being recorded. We will share the recording and a copy of the presentation as well. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Kayleen. I'm just sitting here laughing I'm watching the comments as they're coming through, and I was reading the one from Claire in Caister about her being covered in paint as well. So I'm glad I'm not the only one. But thank you very much for having us with you today, and thanks, folks, for coming along to this session. I'm Kathy Ennis, as Kayleen said. My company is Little Piggy. I'm a business mentor and trainer, so I help businesses understand the business in their business, and I help them with their systems and processes, their automations, and actually understanding things to do with really what they're selling and who they're selling it to. And I work really closely with my colleague, Emma Good, who I'm going to pass over to now to tell you a little bit about herself.
Thanks, Kathy. So after Kathy's helped business owners get the profit back into the business and all the systems and the processes, I do the creative stuff. So I help people get their message out on social media, in blogs and email newsletters. I help people basically get a cohesive strategic plan for their online comms, which doesn't involve posting 24/7 and relying on friends and family to like your Facebook posts, basically.
Yeah, and what happens is that I found that when I was working with my clients around the strategy in terms of perhaps their business planning, but really in terms of their engagement marketing strategy as well, is that we'd come up with a great strategy and sometimes they'd fall off a cliff because once they had the strategy, it's, oh, so what do I do with this now? Whereas what Emma does is she sort of picks that up. So she stops them falling on the rocks and puts a nice big trampoline underneath. And so that's why we work really closely together, is that we now do a lot of cooperative and joint stuff together because it's a much more steady and holistic process. So we now operate together under another umbrella, and we call ourselves 24 Degrees. So today's presentation is brought to you by 24 Degrees because we always want people to think about the business idea of things, but then how do they use that business concept in order to attract and maintain customers. So that's very much where we're coming from in this session today. So I'm going to, I'll share my slides, Emma, and then I'll pick it all up. You'll pick it all up from there because yeah, you're the one that knows these things inside and out. So
no pressure, Cathy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to move this thing out of the way because it always gets in the way of the slideshow. So yeah, so here we are. So we're growing with the Google Toolkit. You can, oh, blimey, what happened there? Sorry, folks. There we go. So this is us, as we've just said. If you do want to get in contact with us after the session, that's our shared email inbox. But I know that Kayleen will be following up after the session with an email, and there will be a copy of these slides in the email. I know that she will let you know how to access the recording. And I think, Emma, we've got something that people can get hold of as well. We've got a resource for them. So we'll make sure that Kayleen's got the link for that so that you can get hold of that after the session. So that's that. So Emma, I'm going to pass over to you with this now.
No worries. So today's workshop is brought to you by the letter G for Google. And I don't know about anybody else, but I don't even think about it's Google or nothing, and it's page one or nothing. I know when I speak to business owners, some of them are spending money on things like Google Ads. Some of them have got Google My Business pages. Some of them are paying for Google Shopping ads. Some of them are looking at where they appear on page 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 when they search for their own website. So I wanted to start off today's session by saying, Google is your friend. I know it's a beast. I know it's a money grabbing machine, but it also can be your friend. So today's session is really about what free and low cost tools you can, no, I think they're all free actually, yeah, what free tools you can use from the Google suite to really help you understand your marketing, see how your website's performing, drive traffic to your website, understand what stuff you should be writing about. A lot of people ask us, what blog should I be writing? How many blogs should I be writing? Well, hopefully today's session is going to show you exactly how to find that information out without having to pay thousands of pounds for an SEO strategy. Of course, you can employ an SEO strategy to help you, but there's so much you can do even before that stage. We're going to be looking at how to find out what's trending, as you'll know, with social media, to keep on top of the trends and actually to be ahead of the curve is really cool. And if you can do that before your competitors, so much the better. And also getting alerts for your own brand name. So I know that a lot of companies on this call will be being featured in their local newspapers, will be appearing on guest blogs, for example. Google helps you find all of the ways that you and your company are being mentioned. So that's just a few things that we're going to be talking about today. It's meant to be really accessible, so do please feel free to pop questions in the chat and Cathy and I can answer them as we go along. Don't suffer in silence. If you've got a burning question that you just want to be answered straight away, chuck it in chat and we can answer.
Yeah, and the thing to say as well, that this is a 2-hour session, but we won't keep you glued to the screen for 2 hours as well. We will allow you to stretch your legs and do whatever it is that you want to do when you stretch those legs for about 10 minutes halfway through. So around about 12ish we'll stop for 10 minutes to give people a little bit of a chance to move about. So yeah, I think that's important. And just to reiterate the thing that that Emma's just been saying is that there are a whole variety of tools that Google are providing for us, and one of the people see it as a beast, and it is a beast, but actually one of the things that they're aware of is that there are some companies that have a hell of a lot of money to throw at things and can therefore seem to get themselves, up the front, ahead of the curve, in front of the smaller business that doesn't have that kind of revenue. So one of the things that Google does try and do with all of the tools that it provides is to give you the opportunity as a much smaller business to check the data, check the analytics of things that can help you make decisions about how to promote, how to talk about your business, the sorts of things to do. So they are attempting to give you a little bit of a leg up in that response in terms of the things that they provide. So and that's where we've wanted to come from in this session, is to give you that view of all of the things that you've got access to that might have the Google badge on them, and some of the things that you can do with those to make maybe your life a little bit easier. Okay.
Without spending a fortune.
Yeah, absolutely, because we don't have fortunes to spend, unfortunately. So
just on that, we don't have fortunes to spend, but also we don't have time to waste either. And the Google Toolkit can really help you kind of get a lot of data and information really, really quickly. What you do with that data and information is crucial, but it can help you kind of cut to the chase and find out stuff really, really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we've done is we've broken the tools we want to look at down into 4 categories, really. So we're looking at things that help you manage stuff in your business and maybe collaborate in your business, those sorts of things. We're looking at how Google basically gives you your own website. And the great thing about that is that because if you use one of these and you use it properly, they're always going to show you, because you're a Googleized person or Googleized business. So it's actually understanding that, looking at how some of the tools that are there that can help you understand and know your website more, what's actually happening in the back end rather than necessarily all the front end stuff. And although we're not going into Google Ads, looking at some of the things that you might want to know about just as a top level thing around some of the things around Google Ads. So we've broken it down into 4 chunks. Hopefully they will make sense as we go through. The other thing that we've included on all of the slides is the URL for each of the tools that we're going to be talking about. So you can go and check them out after the session and make sure you've got accounts or that your website is being recognized in all of those places. Okay. Anything else to add in there, Emma?
There's quite a lot on there, but don't be scared, because we're going to be going through it in bite-sized chunks, and you don't have to use all these tools all at once. You're going to look at these hopefully today and think, actually, that could really serve me well. I'm going to concentrate on that. And then once you've done one, you can move on to another one.
Yeah, absolutely. Do not try and do all of this at once. That way,
it's in lockdown. We don't need the pressure or stress.
Absolutely. So, right. So let's start with Google Docs and Google Drive.
Okay, I might ask you to do this one, Kathy, because you're the process queen.
Okay. Well, I think for me, one of the biggest things I come up against when I'm working with a client is lack of organisation. And I'm going to hold my hands up here and admit to something that doesn't always come to the fore in terms of me and my business and what I do. But by profession, I'm a librarian. So when I did my degree initially, and when I did my second degree, I studied information science. So putting things in the right place so that you can find them easily and quickly is like the letters through a stick of rock for me. So one of the things I find often with businesses is that you say, can you quickly send me over that thing? And quickly becomes like 3 or 4 hours, because they have to go and try and find it somewhere, and they can't remember what they've called it, and they don't know where it is, and all of that kind of stuff happens. So I think one of the things that Google allows you to do with their online docs and drive system is to have a really simple storage space. And you do get a lot of good free storage there, and you can upgrade and get even more storage if you need it. But it allows you to put something in a place in the cloud, which means that all of your stuff isn't lodged on a particular machine, which is often a really good thing. If that machine, like mine did in the first lockdown, a cup of coffee got spilt on the top of it, and that was a goner. So if all of my stuff had actually been on that machine, I would have been up the Swanee, but actually all of my stuff is stored in the cloud. So all I did was replace the machine, and everything was there. So I think looking at something like Google Drive, looking at Google Docs is a great way for you to make sure that all of your stuff is centralized, that you get yourself a good filing system, that you name your files consistently, and date them so that you know what the most recent one is. But for me, the other thing is the collaboration thing. Emma and I live in 2 different counties. We run a business together as well, and we haven't physically met for a year. But the collaboration side of things, us being able to share documents, actually work on documents on our desktops together. So if we're editing something, you know, one of us types and the other one sort of comes up with the ideas. All of that kind of stuff happens in these sorts of spaces. Obviously, there are you can upgrade, and that would cost you some money to do that, and there are other cloud-based systems that allow you to store information. But I think as a starting off point, if you're somebody who's got a laptop or a desktop of some sort, and all of your business worldly goods are actually stored on the hard drive of that machine, one of the first things I would get you to think about is, how do I transfer this into the cloud? Don't be machine based, because if anything does happen to that machine, you're likely to lose quite a lot of it, or stuff can get corrupted. But it's also the fact that, you know, I can now do things on my phone while I'm having my breakfast. I'm not tied to a space, and it's a brilliant collaboration space as well. Anything you wanted to add in there, Emma?
No, you've got it, process queen.
Yeah, thank you. And if anybody ever wants to talk about file management and naming files, I can talk to you about that. Okay, so Google News. Do you want to pick that one up?
Yeah, so Google News is a brilliant area, and I think what I'll do, if Kayleen doesn't mind, in a minute I'm going to take over sharing screen and just give you some ideas on this. Google News basically will tell you what's hitting the headlines, and what we can do as small business owners is look to see what's making the headlines, and then come up with an angle of pitching our own business with that story, and that's called newsjacking. So Tiger Woods car accident in the week, we could be pitching to journalists about car, you know, driving safely, or what to do after an accident. For example, if you was an insurance claims company, we could be pitching to journalists this week about how to get your business ready after April the 12th if you're in retail and you're opening again. Basically, we need to look at the headlines and think, right, what do journalists want to know? What information have I got that could be put in front of them? So we're working with we're working on a proposal at the moment for a cancer charity. So what I would be doing on a daily basis is going over to news.google.com, seeing which celebrities are making the headlines if somebody is sadly got a cancer diagnosis, and then pitching to the journalists what to do about early detection, for example, and tips for self-care and self-checks, for example. So I'm just going to take over screen and go over to Google. Give me one moment.
Yeah, so I see this quite a lot around in terms of the business. It's great for your customers seeing you as somebody who's got your finger on a pulse, but it's also a really, really good PR opportunity. If your business has got something to do with something that is newsworthy, that's in the public psyche, if you want to put it that way, it's a great way to get perhaps a comment into an article that's being written, a reference to your business and what you do in a magazine, those kinds of things. It actually allows you to harness that PR possibility.
Thanks, Kathy. So on the left here, we've got lots of different ways that we can search for news. Helpfully, they've given us the top stories. So I'm looking at Prince Harry, airstrike, examine vaccination passports. So if I was a travel agent, for example, I'd be taking that story and going, right, what do people need to know about vaccination passports? And I'd be doing a spin on that and talking about how quickly that might happen, what people need to be aware of, what they'll need in order to apply, that kind of thing. If I go to the left, I can tailor my news. So Google will know, because Google know everything about everybody. Google will know what kind of stuff I follow and they'll create a digest for me. I can go UK and go local news. If I press local news, I can see what's trending in my local area. So here we go. So if I was anything to do with music, or I had a music shop, for example, I could get involved in this story. I could be doing a story here. If I was a coach, a life coach, for example, what I'd be doing is pitching out what it's like to work in an idyllic paradise compared to a three-bedroom semi in Essex. But you can see here, Google are giving us the fodder. We just need to spin it to tailor it for our business. I can go business, technology, all the different categories, and I'd be looking at that most days. I can also do save searches as well. So my background is in publishing. I did that for 25 years. So I've got some top searches here that I've already saved. I've got lots of clients in the paper industry, so I can click here. And there was something big that happened this week in paper. There's a famous mill that shut. So I can be looking here and going, right, what stories can my clients talk about and where can I get them featured in the press? And these are the stories that have hit the news. Here's one, paper industry likely to have a increase in demand. So I can be putting that story out on social with my extra commentary. So basically use the news source as a digest of what's happening around the world and then tailor it for your business.
Yeah, I think about this kind of thing being over the cornflakes kind of activity. So if you take the opportunity to think about, what are the things that are important in my business, and you set up your like saved searches in those particular fields, you can just be doing this on your phone while you're having your brekkie in the morning, and thinking, oh, is there anything on there today that would be relevant for me? And that way you're always in front of the curve then, in terms of what you're doing, and your customers will start to see that. So I think that's really quite crucial.
So Liz from Essex, Liz is in my networking group. Liz has just asked, how would we contact the relevant journalists? So what I personally would be doing would be heading over to Twitter and typing in their name and looking to see who came up on the search, and then direct messaging them on Twitter with your story idea. You'll get lost if you email the newspaper directly because they receive thousands and hundreds of submissions. But if you can build up a personal relationship on Twitter and do that really proactively. Kathy and I follow a hashtag called #JournoRequests, and over the last 2 months, our clients have been featured in the likes of, and I don't know what the official title is, but basically the official magazine for accountants in the country, Cosmopolitan, Stylist, Asian Voice, and that's purely been from us monitoring Twitter for journos going, I'm writing a story on eating disorders, tax breaks, divorces, whatever the subject matter might be. And we've proactively pitched and said, look, we've got a client that's doing X. The story's pre-made, here you go. Journalists love it because, quite frankly, their job's changed and they use social media as a gathering tool now rather than doing the face-to-face interviews that they might have done 5 years ago. So they love it, their workload's halved, you've given them a story, and suddenly you or your business have got your name in the press without having to pay for it. So yeah, hugely valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Emma and I are huge advocates of Twitter. If you are looking for anything where you need to contact a journalist or a PR agency about anything, they hang out there. That is their milieu. That's where you'll find them. So, and it has to be proactive. They're not going to come and look for you. You have to get in there and contact them. But this Google News is a brilliant jumping off point. Oh, that person's writing about that. I wonder if they want to know about this that we've experienced with such and such. and you know, they will. And if they can't use you straight away, if you start to communicate with them regularly, they'll realize that you'll be a good source for information, and they will pick you up. So it's a great way to get your name into the press.
I was just reading the chat here. So we've got James from New Gen, and I saw one of the news stories today was around masks and infections. So potentially James could approach those journalists and say, look, you know, here's what we're doing on our side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's Google News.
Okay.
And then we go into Google Alerts, which is, they're sort of in the family, aren't they, together?
Yep, they are. So what Google Alerts does really helpfully is send you in real time alerts when you or your clients or your brand or your competitors are mentioned on the web. I get overwhelmed with the amount of alerts that I've got set up. So obviously you can filter them, but to know when somebody's been featured, or even myself has been featured in the news, is really, really handy, because it means that you can jump on it straight away. You can also use that if there's an issue. So if suddenly you saw a spike in your competitor's name on Google or your own name, you could suddenly do some either crisis management or nabbing to see what the problem was, and then jump in with an angle. So I'll show you this in a minute, but effectively you're creating alerts, searches, and you're telling Google that anytime X is mentioned, please send me an email to show me what the story is. So that could be your business, your company name, your customers, client's name, or your competitors. So if I take over and share.
Yeah, and I was just going to throw in there, while Emma's doing that, is that you can tell the alerts whether you want them immediately. I wouldn't do them immediately. I'd be inundated with stuff. So I have a once a week email that comes through as like a digest of things. But I also use Google Alerts as a way of keeping on top of the things that my business is about. So I have Google Alerts for things like business in the UK economy, micro businesses, those kinds of things. And it shows me what people are sharing and writing about in other places. And I think, oh, you know, that's a really interesting angle they've gone at. Maybe I should write a blog on that topic. Maybe I should do some social postings on those topics, if that's the kind of stuff that people are interested about. So yeah, I do myself. It sounds a bit big-headed, but I always put myself in there, put the name of my business in there, put people that I know, like and trust in there, but I also put topics in there that I'm particularly interested in.
Thanks, Kathy. So how to do this, you'd put in, should say Norfolk as the topic, and then you decide how often you want, from which region. So you could say UK or global, how often, what languages, and where they should be delivered to. So I'll create that. And I'll just give you a preview. So here we can see what Google have got for you in the last 24 hours. Yeah. I'd be running through that, thinking, right, what can I use? And then if I go into my email, I'll find that alert has already pulled out information for me, and I'll get that at the frequency I've decided.
Yeah, it's I think it's a tool I've used since day one, because it's just something that sits there in the background, and it just provides you with a really, as I say, I get a weekly email, so I get a digest. So again, yeah, maybe I'm food and drink obsessed, but if I have a cup of tea, I'll sit and I'll just browse through the email that comes through once a week and say, oh, that's a really interesting take on that topic. And I might just pop in and see what people have been writing on the web about that thing. Usually it's, you know, a shortish blog or something, so 300 to 500 words. Takes me a couple of minutes to read that. It's not going to take that long, and it can help. It can keep me up to date with what's going on. It can give me inspiration for my own content. It will alert me to the kinds of things that other people are looking for and potential customers are looking for on the web. So it's a really, really simple way of collating that into a short space.
So Holly just asked a really great question. Is it best to send journalists a tweet with a link to a press release on your website rather than an email? Do you know what? At the minute, I'd say neither, because they are so lazy and they get inundated with like press releases. I would do a personal approach. So I'd do a personal reply to a tweet, or I'd send them a direct message. Yeah, I can't, and I'm not criticising journalists here, by the way, but I just know how they work, and they're getting sent links to stuff and emails to stuff constantly. We have to stand out, and the way to do that is to craft something personal. Would you agree, Kathy?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you went on to something like, if you went onto Twitter and you follow the hashtag journo request, you will find that journalists are saying, who out there knows something about X? If you know something about that, DM me, or sometimes they'll say, here's the email to send that information to, and then what they'll do is they'll pick through that. If you send them a press release, that will just go across the top of their head. If you've built a relationship with a journalist, or if you've built a relationship with a publication, and they know you, like you, trust you, then, and you've got a named person at that organization, then you can actually send them an email marked press release, with all of the information in it. But I wouldn't start sending press releases to journalists, because it will just go in the bin, basically. Yeah.
Sorry, like I say, we don't mean to be negative, but I want to be realistic.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go back to this one. So is that everything about the alerts, Emma? That
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So let's go to the next one. So this is a biggish one, isn't it? Google My Business.
It is.
So
okay.
It'd be lovely to know in chat, actually, if you've all got a Google My Business page, and when the last time you updated it was, if you've got one, because that's the other thing. It's not just about having one; it's what you do with it. So
okay. So Google My Business, it used to be called, Google Plus. Okay, so about a couple of years ago now, I can't remember, probably longer, I don't know. At the time, it's taken its own meaning in lockdown, but they changed it to this thing called Google My Business. You might hear it called local Google Pages, but effectively what it is, it's a way of you guys taking ownership of your physical location on Google Maps. So when somebody does a search for therapist near me, you will come up in the searches, but it's actually more than that. So it's a place for you to optimize your listing. So basically what you can do is you can put in the keywords that you use on your website onto your Google listing, so you have better chance of matching the search query, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You can include all of your services on your Google My Business page. If somebody's searching for an estate agent in Norfolk, if you've got that listed as one of your services, again, you've got a higher probability of getting found within the search and maps. I can see in chat, people are doing this already. You can ask for reviews on your Google My Business. You'll come up with the star rating, which is super, super, super critical nowadays. And actually that's social media proof is only going to get more. So if you haven't got a review strategy in your business, please, please, please come talk to Kathy and I after, because it is crucial. And as Kathy said, because you're a Google business, you will come up. So let me share and I will show you what that looks like. So I've just done a quick search for social media agency in Brentwood. Got loads of different listings here. So these people have paid to be there, even though they're in London. So that's like really annoying, but anyway, that they're paying. Julian, my friend down the road, Green Tornado, my friend down the road, and us, 24 Fingers. So basically what that means is somebody that is searched for a social media agency in Brentwood has got a couple of paid for results, and then they've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, I can't even count, but you know, there's about 25 different results there that have come up in the map, and I'm number 3. What that looks like on a normal Google page is paid results here, and you know they're paid because they've got the ad symbol on here. You scroll down and suddenly you've got the map. Okay, and if I go to view all, that's the one that I found. You've got here the reviews, you've got what they do, opening hours, and the website mentions creative digital agencies. So the keywords have come out there. I'm going to show you mine behind the scenes. So we have got, okay, so we've got 30 reviews, all 5 stars. People can call us, people can get directions, not at the moment, but they can. People can go to my website, and basically, if I'll just show you really quickly, I can see what people are saying about us and what keywords people use about us. Sorry, I've gone back to, so if I, yeah, here we go. So these are the keywords that people have mentioned in the reviews. So what I would do here is start looking at, okay, what blogs do I need to write using these keywords? What pages on my website need to have Pinterest, LinkedIn, social media training? What blogs do I need to write that show how do I increase my social media knowledge, etc., etc. So even just on your review sheet, Google's just telling you, look, these are what the people are saying, these are what the people are searching for. Go away and do something with that data. And like I said, you know, data is great, but we've got to actually take action. But they're giving us the information. For anybody that has got this set up and is getting reviews, please do respond to the reviews when you get them, because that's another trust factor, that if somebody stumbles on your reviews and it shows that you haven't replied, it might give you a bit of a bad impression. So do make sure that you're social, you're both ways, rather than just outwards. You go back as well. Highly recommended that you, each business on here has got a Google My Business page, because otherwise you are genuinely missing out on search results, and it's free. Once you set them up and optimized it, you can let it roll. If you can update it regularly by putting your latest blogs on there, which is about your business, even selfies, please do. But just do it. And if you need any help in setting up or understanding how to optimize, please shout.
Yeah, what I was going to say,
questions.
Yeah, one of the things I was going to say as well is that, remember, Google will always favor its own stuff. It'll favor its own product. So it's one of the reasons why it favors YouTube, because it owns YouTube. But Google My Business, you know, if you do a desktop search or something, and you see the search results down the center, and on the right hand side you'll see that nice sort of like Google My Business profile come up. That's the sort of thing that customers are going to take as a trust mark to start with, and then if they mooch around in there, they're going to start finding, you know, if you're keeping it up to date, if you're not keeping it up to date, what kinds of things are you on there for, you know, making sure. And these are the kinds of things that happen, is making sure that the link to the website is working properly. Doesn't always. Making sure that the up-to-date phone number is there, because if somebody's using it on a mobile, they hit that, they can dial you straight away. As Emma said, things like you can post your most recent blog on there. So you might be doing loads of stuff SEO on your website, which is brilliant, but actually by popping that into Google as well, or linking it into Google, you're actually giving it another little boost there. So for me, I think Google My Business is often a sadly overlooked thing. You can very specifically say where you are if you work within a specific region, or you can stretch that region out to the areas that you cover. And don't worry if you haven't got a physical business premises, because you can actually say on the thing, this is where the business operates from, but don't show the physical address. So it means that, you know, I'm in Old Hunstanton in Norfolk, and people can see that on my Google My Business page, but they can't see my road or my house number or anything like that. So, you know, do be aware of that.
I'm going to answer a few questions. So Emma Smith said they've got a Google My Business page set up for the main business, but they're looking to add another one for the food and drink side of the business. I'm not sure what the main and original business is. But if you offer different services and you want to rank for both, you can have 2 different locations with 2 different names. There's no issue around doing that at all. Brian, is there any way we could add some reviews? No, that's a really good point. So Brian has asked whether they could take the reviews that they get by email and pop them onto Google My Business. You can't, because it needs to be submitted by an individual person. An actual person needs to do that. I'm sorry. And Kate has asked, does Google My Business stars show in the organic search and AdWords same way as the Trustpilot review ones do? Yep, so we've got 30 reviews, 5 stars, so that will come up in the search and come up in the map results.
Yeah, and I think that what was the question about the reviews and
can you transfer them?
Yeah, and that's where what Emma was saying before about having a process for gathering reviews, that you know, if you're doing follow-up with people, you can actually give them a link to say leave me a Google review, so that they do that. And I think it's only a very small proportion of the world that doesn't have a Google account of some sort. So you have to have a Google account to actually leave a Google review, so they need to know you're a real person. So yeah, but that's the only thing that would stop it. Anything else there?
No, that was it for me.
Okay, so the next little tool is
Analytics, Google Analytics. So Kathy, you squirming, Kathy, in your seat there?
This will take us up to the break, I can tell you that.
Yeah. So again, in chat, I would love to know who's got Google Analytics installed on their website. Pop into chat if you have.
I'd love to know anybody who understands it.
Well, that was going to be my next question. I want to know in chat whether you've got it installed on the website, and then after we get all the yeses or the no's, I want to understand from all the yeses whether they actually know what the data means, because it can be a minefield. So what Google Analytics is, and this really is your best friend, like it is 100% your best friend, because it's going to tell you how people are consuming your website, if they're consuming your website, what they're doing when they get there. Are they just arriving, bouncing off? Are they staying for hours? What content is driving them to stay? How many pages they're visiting? What they're using to access your website? So is it mobile? Is it desktop? And whether they are. Again, there's like nothing that Google doesn't know when somebody gets onto your website. If you've got all the tracking set up properly, it's not easy. So it's not difficult to set it up. The difficulty is translating all that rich data into actionable tasks for your business. So I'm going to give you some. Insights. I trust everyone on this call. So this is confidential information on my own website, but I'm happy to share because I know it won't go any further. So I'm going to go over to 24 Fingers website and last 7 days. So I'm going to change this to last month. So we had 1,200 visitors website in a month, up. My eyes are so bad in lockdown, 12% month on month. So already I can see what happened in February was better than what happened in January. So now I need to look and understand what changed, what did I do different, and what can I do more of, and what can I do less of. Okay, our bounce rate. So our bounce rate is quite high at the moment. I know why. We need to upgrade to a new theme, but I'm on that. But Plumbers Houses are on the theme. Kathy and I have done. Well, we've launched a business in lockdown. We've done a huge amount. So when we look at our stuff, we go, oh, yeah, we've got to do that. And bounce rate for me, ideally, I want to get between 40 and 60%. You'll never get 100%. So you'll never get people that come onto your website and everyone will stay. That's just not realistic. But I personally want to get my 78 down to 60, and I know why. My session duration, people are staying on my website for less than a minute. That's down 20% from month on month. So again, I can see, well, why would they stay in less? Was the content less attractive? Like, what was happening? I can see who's on my site right now. Really interestingly, again in chat, I'd love to know if anybody has excluded their internal traffic from the website. So what I mean by that is, if you haven't, every time one of you, your staff or you go onto your website, you're going to count as traffic. And actually what we want to do, we want to exclude that, because I don't need to know that my staff went onto my website 1,200 times. I only want visage, quick and easy thing for you to do. Exclude your own traffic, and if anybody needs a hand on that, do let me know. I'm going to look at where my traffic came from. So I can see the dark one is all organic search. So I know that my SEO activity is really working. On this particular day, my SEO, my organic stuff, my email with the top performance. Direct means somebody knows my website, so www.24fingers.co.uk. I had 4 leads from social and other, which will be referral traffic. So over a month, I can see what channel performed better for me, and then I can go and do more SEO activity or more emails or more social. Here I can see again Google Direct, Campaign Monitor, which is my email system, and LinkedIn. So this is going to give me really crucial data. If, for example, I was a business that was spending hours and hours and hours tweeting out, I could go to my Google Analytics and go, right, what did that activity actually do for my business? If I weren't seeing any traffic that said Twitter, I'd stop Twitter. And when Kathy and I were on a webinar yesterday with Vicky Everidge at Discover Kings Lynn, and we were saying, you know, you don't have to be on every single platform if it's not giving you the results. It might be that you do 2 out of the 5 or 4 out of the 5, but your analytics are going to prove or disprove where you should be best spending your time. I'm going to look at referral traffic. So by far my referral traffic is coming from Facebook. So that would indicate to me that I should be spending more on my Facebook advertising to pump that traffic up even greater, because there's an audience and they're liking what they're seeing from me. I meant to say as well that I'm giving you like a whirlwind tour of this. There is so much rich data to show you, but I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to give you the best I can, and then if anybody wants to dive deeper, do let me know. Okay, so here I can see how my traffic is spiking over the month. If I had a massive spike on a particular day, I'd be going back and thinking, right, what can I do the same that caused that big spike? Or conversely, if I had a massive dip, I'd be not doing that again. Lots of people ask me, and I had it this morning actually, a lady came on the line to ask me about their Instagram profile and what I thought about it. And her first question was, when should I be posting? Well, Google, just like Facebook, just like Instagram, tell us when we should be posting. So for me, I've got big spikes. What's that? 12 till 2 here, 10 till 12 on a Thursday, 2 till 4 on a Friday. So for me, if I was doing any ad campaigning, either on Facebook ads or Google ads, I'd be scheduling my staff to be going out at those times. I wouldn't be bothering to be posting first thing in the morning. The big spike there, 2 till 4 on a Friday afternoon, is when my newsletter goes out. So for those of you that don't get my newsletter, I'll pop it into chat every week. We share lots of actionable, handy tips on social media, how to get more followers, how to get more engagement, how to run Facebook groups. I can see already that the spike in my activity on a Friday afternoon is a direct result of my emails. So for those of you that have got email newsletters going out, go back to your Google Analytics and see what that's doing for your traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that not enough people set up the systems, but then they don't use the data that those systems are giving them. And as Emma said, this is like a whistle-stop tour, because you could do weeks on this to dive into every little element. But in the analytics data, they do give you the headline stuff. They do give you, this is what we think you should know right at the top there. So even if you're not a massive data analyst, they've actually given you, and I like it because it's graphic, and I can see that where the really dark blue is where I should be doing what I do, if that's in my case. So part of our job in our business is to take time to actually manage the business, and part of that management is to manage the marketing or promotional or the knowledge activity that's happening within the business. So this shouldn't be an if I've got the time activity. It should be, oh, it's 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, that's the time I do such and such, because this is the data that's telling you if what you're doing is working or not. And this is the stuff that can make the difference between you spending hours doing social posts and blogs and newsletters and everything that are having absolutely no impact whatsoever. So yeah, I think it's a real important thing to get, even just at the top level of this, get to grips with it as much as you possibly can.
Thanks, Kathy. We all know that when we get to a website and it doesn't load, it really frustrates us. Double check how your website is performing on desktop, mobile and tablet. And if you see issues around usability, this analytics area is going to show you. Basically, think mobile first. Okay, my desktop traffic, I have a lot of people that literally sit on their laptops and read my stuff, so I know that my desktop traffic is higher than your average, but always think mobile first. Okay. We need to look at content success, if you like. So basically, what's working, what stuff are you writing about that people are engaging with? So let's look here. So this is the last month. So we've had 320 people come to our homepage. So that thing there is homepage. And then how to use LinkedIn to drive engagement, about blog. We had a new starter, LinkedIn algorithm. So immediately that sends me, to go away and write more stuff on LinkedIn, go and do another LinkedIn workshop. Kathy and I are running a 5-day LinkedIn challenge soon. That stat is basically saying to me what my business activities should be for Q2 in 2021. More house, more tutorials, and always discovery calls. So Kathy and I both operate a system in business where people can talk to us about what's driving them insane, whether it's in their business, whether they're working every single weekend for no return, or whether they're putting all this stuff out on social and not getting any leads. So this free social media advice, I can see that you know, that's a page to be kept. And if I scroll down, I can see we've got about 500 pages on our website, so I can see what's working or not. But for me, I can see immediately that if LinkedIn's 2 in the top 10, I need to be concentrating on LinkedIn. I'm going to go over to the right-hand side and the audience. So for those of you that are spending money on any type form of paid advertising, whether that's paid social media or paid Google, this data is going to help you not waste your money. So basically, we can look here at demographics and interests, and you can plug that data into your Facebook campaigns. So I'm just going to look at demographics. So as a business, I'm happy to work with men and women. And I wouldn't say, although I'm based in Essex, we do work with people all around the country. We're not just for Essex or Christmas. Here you can see that our website visitors, 45% female, 55%, I've got that the right way around? Yeah, so 55% female, 45% male. So I need to make sure that the content on my website doesn't come across as overtly feminine or masculine, because I've got a fairly even split there. I need to make sure that in my social media I'm using pictures of men and women as well. I need to be conscious of the age group that visiting my website. So for me, I've got 25 to 34s, 35 to 44, and roughly the same amount of 45 to 54s. That's really great for me, because being frank, I'm not going to be able to teach an 18-year-old much about social media. I hold my hands up, I'm not, but I can help a 45 to 54-year-old transform their business through social media. So that stat really shows me that the content that we're putting out is working there, it's working there, and if it's not working there, that's not a massive deal for me. Okay. I can look into interest. So again, I can plug these into my Facebook campaigns. So I can say, okay, I can see here already that beauty and wellness must be a thing for our visitors. So I should then start looking at content around how to run social media for a beauty salon, for example. Okay. I can see how often people are coming back to my website. So do they just come once and never find what they like and then just never come back? Or do they stay? So for example, over the last week coming back, I'll just take that to a month, a bit more data. last 30 days. So what happened in the last 30 days in terms of repeat visitors? And obviously we want to encourage both repeat and new. I want people to keep coming back to me for more, because that way I know they're engaged. Also, I want new tribe as well. So here you can see that I had 11% of people come back month on month. And what's really interesting is that the people that came back stayed on my site for nearly 2 minutes compared to the new people that stayed a lot lower in January. So that kind of thing, I can go, oh, okay, the people that are coming back are really loyal. What I then do is run a remarketing campaign to get people to come back for the second time. Some of you would have done things like go over to Marks and Spencer's website, and then the next time you go onto Facebook, you'd have seen the same sofa that you were browsing on Marks and Spencer's on Facebook. That's called remarketing, and targeting those 159 people using that technology. Again, relatively simple to set up, but really powerful. I feel like I'm talking for ages here, but I'm hoping that you're enjoying it. I'm looking into acquisition now. So acquisition is going to tell me where I got my traffic from based on all the different channels. So we go out on like 5 social media platforms: email, email, some paid, not a huge amount of paid. But here I can look at my pie chart. So I can see that 58% of my traffic came from SEO. 17% knew about me, 12% social. I think that says 9% my eyes are rubbish. And then traffic, so other people linking to me. So I'm going to look at my social channels in, I think that's a month. Yeah. Okay, so it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So I can benchmark that now and go, okay, right, so what I need to be doing more of or less of. I can go back to
I think for me, even if people did this, looked at the overview stats once a month to find this kind of data, even down to that fact where Emma could see in terms of like the top 4 social platforms, which one was having the most impact. And you could see LinkedIn was at the top. Immediately that says, then, well, maybe that's where I need to be spending a bit more time. So proportionately, in terms of, you know, what I'm doing with my output, maybe I need to break up that proportion into the proportions that I see there. So, and all of these things allow you to make better decisions in your business.
Thanks, Kathy. So here we've got SEO, we've got direct, where people know about me, we've got social, email, and then referral traffic. So referral is when other people have put a link to my website on their website and they've driven traffic back to me. So thank you very much to Norfolk Chamber. So I had 4 visits out of 21 referral traffic over the last month from Norfolk Chamber. So my job as a business now is to go and try and encourage other people to backlink to me and drive that referral traffic. Okay. If I was running any Google ads, I would see what that was doing for the business as well in this area. Behaviour. So behaviour is going to tell me what people are doing when they get onto my site in terms of content. So which pages are performing the best. We mentioned earlier, but LinkedIn, how often, and Instagram dashboard. So from what I see there on the top 10, people are wanting guides and advice, and they're wanting kind of very practical tips and tricks and hacks, because none of us work for Google or Facebook, right? So we need to demystify this kind of stuff. I'm just going to scroll down and get you the next 50. And I'll be able to see the pattern. So here, you know, it's all about training. It's all about 10 ways to do this, 24 ways to boost your engagement, etc. And then what I can do, I can compare month on month. So I might say, okay, if there's LinkedIn algorithm post, is it still doing well, or do I need to rewrite it? So let's look as a comparison. Sorry, I'm just going to change that to, that's okay, I'll just do Jan to December, it's fine. So let's look. So here, I can see this LinkedIn poll thing, had 100 visits in December and it had 179 in January. So now I'm thinking I need to do another blog about LinkedIn polls to say how to measure your results from LinkedIn polls, for example. I'm looking here at my about page. So my about page went up like 139%. That shows to me now that I need to take that about page and put more social media posts about my about page on social media to drive more traffic to that page. My LinkedIn algorithm blog is down in January. So why don't I refresh that and call that how does the LinkedIn algorithm work in 2021, for example? So this data will drive my content strategy based on numbers, not guesswork.
Yeah, and this is the whole thing about it being part of the business. And I want to pick up on what Emma said there about strategy. And I think that's the crucial side of it, is that it's not a let's lick my finger and see which way the wind is blowing. There's actually really hard data here that we can use, and sometimes it's challenging because we have our own preferred spaces, but really the key thing is to make sure that we're providing what we need to provide in the spaces where our customers, our potential customers and our fans are hanging out. And if our preferred space for chatting to people is Facebook, that's one thing. But if our preferred space for our customers is LinkedIn, that's where we need to be doing the business stuff. So I think that's really quite crucial in terms of that strategy side of things. And I'll reiterate what Emma said. If anybody feels that they need a quick conversation about any of these things, you can book in to have a chat with us. There's no problem with that.
So I'm going to take some questions, and then I think let's break, but let's do the questions first, because otherwise we'll get out of sync. So Sam says, just like using Google Analytics, new website launch, I understand a few bits, but need to ask our web developer to explain. Yeah, do get a kind of top to tail what the numbers mean, but get them to do it in plain English so that you can action all the numbers. Alice says, how would you stop activity on a social media platform like Twitter? Would you just stop posting or remove the account? Personally, for me, I wouldn't remove the account because you might need it in the future, but I'd be putting a holding post at the top. I'd be pinning it to the top of the page to say, we're now concentrating on other channels. Head on over to X or follow us on Facebook or LinkedIn with us, that kind of thing, because you want to protect your brand name. You don't want anyone else nicking that. Elizabeth, is that Elizabeth Windle? Set up, haven't looked. Yeah, please, if you've got all this set up, do look, because it might tell you some information that will be crucial. And you get a lot of analytics on the Shopify account, which is similar. Yeah. Emma says, I'd love to know how to set up remarketing. Yeah, definitely. We'll put into chat Kathy and I's calendar, and we can help you do that. And Alex asked, does the Facebook pixel tie in with Google Analytics, and if so, how so? So it doesn't tie up, but what you can do is you can use both data sets to get an overall picture. So for me, I look at my Instagram analytics and go, right, yeah, 50-50 men and women. Does that correlate with what Facebook's pixel is telling me? Does that correlate what Google is telling me? And once I've got an overall picture, I use that data to build ad campaigns around that. They don't sync, but they'll give you two data sets, what you could merge for really in-depth stuff. To be honest, there's so much that they know about it. It's untrue. And for anybody that is interested, Kathy and I have got a 5-day challenge on Facebook ads where we're going to be looking about how to identify your target audience, because I personally don't want anyone spending a quid on Facebook without knowing how they're going to get in front of the right people, because it's a hungry beast, just like Google. Yes, Val, I've reserved your spot already, my darling, and I cannot wait to see you, because my nails are all full, my eyelashes are all full, my hair's all full. I'm just an absolute mess, and I cannot wait to come back to your salon in Chelmsford. I'm going to take Kate's Q&A questions. So, Kate, you can. Kate asked, I didn't know you could do Google Ads on Google My Business. Can you set up Google My Business ads in AdWords? So it's all under the same Google Ads. You just need to set that up in search. Basically, they don't show you Google results until you've searched for the same thing a lot, and then they will come up. So it's not as simple as just pressing a button to say show that on search results, but we can chat separately on that. And Kate said, how does Google Analytics know the age and the sex of the visitors? So like literally they know what I had for breakfast yesterday, and they know it because when you set up a Google account, they ask you for your birthday, that they like to be real, they ask for your gender, and then they basically buy data, just like Facebook and Google just buying data from everywhere. So they're amalgamating all that data, so they know what I bought, where I visited, where I checked in. They've got me literally tracked. I personally don't have a problem with that, because for my business as a small business owner, the fact that I know I can target someone what went to Costa yesterday, that went to a certain school, that is a homeowner that's married with a kid, is absolute gold dust for my business. So I don't have a problem with any of that, but it is scary how much they do know about us.
Yeah, and I'll just reiterate that, is that to go off grid is the hardest thing in the world, and I suppose the idea of privacy to a certain extent is a theory rather than a reality, and that that they just have access, and the algorithm tracks how many seconds your eyes are on a screen, where your eyes go to on the screen while you're there. They track your keystrokes. Absolutely everything is trackable by the algorithms, not just on Google, not just on Facebook, on all of them. That's how the tech has developed over time. And so that's the data that, as a business owner, is like gold dust. Because if you want to say, I need to talk to this kind of person in this kind of place with this kind of problem, with that kind of money to spend, that's the data that you can use to get in front of them. So yeah, if you want to look at it from scary big brother side of things, maybe, but if you want to look at it from the side of actually this could really help my business fly, that's the positive side.
What Kathy said.
So should we have a quick break now?
Yeah, just stop talking.
Let people go and play with Google Analytics for 10 minutes.
We'll pop into chat as well our links, so that if you do go and check your Google Analytics in the break and you think, actually, do you know what, this is all mumbo jumbo, do book in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So should we come back at 20 past, Kathy?
Yeah, that's fine. Hi, Kaylee.
Hello. I love your image that you have on.
Oh, my little piggy.
Yep, love it with the pearls.
Yeah, he's my or she, non-gender specific. It's my little piggy.
Love it.
Yeah, he's everywhere. So yeah. So yeah, it's I was busily answering some questions during the break. So
that's all right. That's what you're here for. Perfect. I'll let you carry on.
Right. So I'll go back to the screen share. And now we've oh, it's the wrong one I'm sharing. Sorry about that. Stop share. You don't want to see my emails. Where did that go? Oh, here it is. Here it is. There we go. Right. So now that we've made everybody run screaming from the room with Google Analytics, let's move on to Keyword Planner, which I love. I love Keyword Planner. I think it's such a brilliant tool.
Okay, so basically what Keyword Planner does for your business, it tells you what people are searching for in your industry, what your sector, and what you'd pay if you ran a Google campaign to target those people. So I'm going to show you how this works very shortly. Effectively, let's take a physiotherapist company locally. They can see what type of words people are searching into Google in order for them to come up, and they can see what the competition are paying. They can see how many people are searching, and they can see what the cheaper keywords are. Now, personally for me, I don't run Google ads. We've got enough leads in the business without giving Google money right now. That might change in the future, but at the moment we don't, and I'm thanking anybody and everyone for that. So I don't need to be spending money on Google Ads, but what I want to do is make sure that I appear on page 1 of Google for certain things like social media training, LinkedIn algorithms, for example. And I don't want to pay to do that. So what I use Keyword Planner for is to be getting loads of free insight in order to drive my content strategy around my particular topics or that of a physiotherapist, for example. So I'm just gonna log into Google Keyword Planner while Kathy's chatting, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So the way I use Keyword Planner primarily is around the SEO on my website that I've got control over. So I'll make sure that I'm looking at the kinds of words that I'm looking for the kinds of words that I want to be ranked for. How are people searching for them? What's the percentage of people? How many searches are going on using those kinds of words? And then I'll make sure that I'm using those words in the pages that I write for my website, that I'm using those words as inspiration for any blogs that I write. So basically what I'm doing is I'm saying to Google, in my industry, what is Joe Public searching for on Google? Google will tell me, and I'll say, okay, so if that person is searching for that sort of stuff, then if I put stuff out there on that topic, then it's likely to get in front of that person. So that's the logic that sits behind it.
If I use the physiotherapist as the example, so it's been a long week, physiotherapist, I can get results. And I can start off with a keyword or I can start off with a website, and I'm going to show you both, but I'll do get results for so right now I can see right now I can see lots of information from Google. So you can see it's huge traffic for this search term, physiotherapy near me. 10,000 to 100,000 people per month searching for that. At the minute I'm doing UK, but I could change that to Norfolk, I could change that to Essex. And if I wanted to pay and to be at the top of the page and for someone to click on it, every time someone clicked, it's going to cost me £2.05. Between 73p and £2.05, well, that's like a lot of money in anyone's business. So what I'd then be looking at is thinking, okay, pelvic floor physiotherapy, 69p, £2.09, again, a lot of money. Why don't I write a blog about that? Why don't I write a blog about the 10 top stretches you could do for sports physiotherapy, how to practice physiotherapy at home? Because £2.11 every time someone clicks on the website, and bearing in mind that a bounce rate is 40 to 60%, like that can really add up. So what we want to be doing is taking all those words and thinking, right, what stuff on my website, whether that's landing pages or blogs or emails or social media, can I be doing that features all this good stuff without spending all that bad stuff? And I'm not saying Google's bad, but I'm saying if you've got a limited budget and you don't want to be spending a starting point of like 300, 400, 500 quid a month on Google, then this would be a really quick and easy way of taking that data and increasing your organic search results until you get to a point where you're happy to do that targeted traffic. Because you know that for every 100 people that get to your website, you should be expecting between 1 and 3 conversions. So Kathy and I talk a lot about realistic targets. So we work on a 1 to 3% conversion rate. So what that basically means is for 10,000 people who have seen your ad on Facebook, you're going to get 100 people to your website, and out of them 100 people, potentially you're going to get one person actually convert to be a lead before you've even converted them to be a client. So that's the margins that we're talking about. So, 100 times £101.93, that's 193 quid. That's a lot of money to pay for potentially one person leaving their details in a contact form. So we have to kind of weigh up whether we've got that money in our business. If we needed bums on seats quickly, then I 100% suggest Google Ads all the way, because it's the quickest route to market. There's a better buying intent. People want your stuff because they're typing it into Google. But if you haven't got 500 quid in the business right now, I'd be going to the left-hand column and creating content and doing an inbound strategy to drive people back to your website for free or very low cost.
Organic stuff. I mean, if people are searching for pelvic floor physiotherapy, then writing a blog about, you know, the 5 things you can do with pelvic floor physiotherapy, and making sure that I've got a page on my physiotherapy website about pelvic floor physiotherapy. I'm getting that stuff that people are looking for out there without having to pay £2 every time somebody clicks on something.
Precisely. And like I say, none of this is us bashing Google or Facebook, but what we're trying to say is, if you've got this data, there's a lot you can do without spending a huge amount of money before you make that decision.
So when you spend money, you're spending it wisely and at the right time, rather than just spending money and it fritters and disappears into the ether.
Exactly, because once you press go on this stuff, the money goes quite quickly. I showed you keywords, now I want to show you websites. So basically what you can do here is pop in your website or your competitor's website and start seeing the keywords that they're ranking for, and then go away and do that exercise. So I'm going to use this physiotherapy website as an example. So here I can see what keywords she ranks for, and if that was my competitor, can't seem to scroll down. Oh, there we go. That was my competitor, I'd be writing blogs that targeted the kind of stuff that she ranks for. So at home physiotherapy, for example, 100,000 searches, that could be quite a good one. I'd be doing videos on Facebook around back physio, back pain. What's another one? Back physiotherapist. Back to fitness physiotherapy, that could be a good blog. So again, take all this stuff, use it organically until you're in a position to pay for it. Again, I could be doing days on Google AdWords, so I'm going to stop talking and answer any questions on Google AdWords. Has anyone got any questions on that?
I'd be interested to know if anybody's got a strategy in their business, to be honest, if anybody's done any work on this, or in terms of their sort of moving forward in terms of their social, and I'm thinking sort of web social blogging, page building kind of stuff, whether people have sat down and actually thought about, rather than just saying, oh, we're an estate agent, we need to write about lettings in Swaffham, whether they've actually sat down and said, this is what people are searching for, therefore over the next 6 months we need to do X, Y and Z, because this is the way that that's the difference between, I suppose, a business that's got a fully fledged marketing team within it, and perhaps a smaller business where, say, the business owner or one of the team is responsible for this, who isn't necessarily a marketer. And that's the thing that these tools will help you do, is to have a better marketing department, if you want to put it in inverted commas, in your business, even if that marketing department is you. So that's what we're after. Yeah. So
Val's just saying that she needs to sort out her Google Analytics, because I think that will really benefit her business. She needs to spend some time with us. Yeah, you've got us, Val. And Val's just introduced blogs on our website, so Val will be able to see what that blog traffic did compared, last November, December, compared to what that's doing right now, so we can decide whether to do more or less.
Absolutely, and I think that I'll just tell you a little anecdote here in terms of what I've started doing, is that I used to think about the blogs that I wanted to write because I wanted to write them. Then Emma showed me all the stuff around keyword planning. And what I do now is I decide on what the keyword is going to be. Then from that keyword, I design the blog title to include the keyword really prominently. And then the blog gets written from the title. So rather than having the inspiration of the writing first and then thinking about putting the wrapper around, I create the wrapper first and then I put the content in to fit that. And I can tell you that the difference that's actually made in terms of my blogs and their SEO in the past, I'd say 6 months, has been amazing. So yeah, I would really get you to think seriously about that. Okay, so next
slide, please, Mrs.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, right. Google Search Console. So again, you know, when you go to a website and a page is broken or there's a missing picture and it really bugs you and it's really slow, and then you just think, oh, actually, do you know what? I'm not even going to bother. I'm going to go elsewhere. Google Search Console helps that not happen. So if I can use Kathy's website as a
oh no.
no, I have to. It's the rules. It's the rules. Basically, Google Search Console will tell you what's wrong and then give you ways to fix. They'll send you an email. They'll tell you exactly what page you need to look at, and they'll tell you exactly what the problem is. So if and also Kathy, you have nothing to worry about on yours, so don't think that. So I'm just going to share. So what we can see here is over the last 3 months. Yeah, so we had this amount of clicks. There's 26 pages of errors. Actually, that's okay. Kathy just recently redid her website, so I would expect some tweaks to be done whenever we change a website. And basically, we've got one mobile usability issue on one page. So I'd be clicking into that and thinking, right, what's the error on that? And it could be something as simple as the text needs to be pointed up 1 point size. It could be really, really minor, but helpfully they're telling us that. So what that means is we can get that report and go, right, that's one page to fix, without people bouncing off our website because of a mobile usability issue that we didn't even know about. So even though you might be worried about what you're going to find on Google Search Console, please do it. I 100% guarantee if I open mine up, mine's going to be hugely worse, which is why I opened Kathy's up, because I know what bits need to be fixed on my website that we're rebuilding the theme for. So
and I will say that mobile usability one is, and I do know it, and it's on my task list to actually do. Yeah. Is the fact that on one of the pages I've put in a bit of text. And I put it as like a caption text, and the pixel number is too small, so I just have to go in and make it bigger on the mobile version on my website. It's absolutely fine on the desktop, it's just on the mobile. So, and I get this, and I actually had things through from them saying when I was doing the work on my website that the padding on the pages, so that means the gap either side of the text was too wide, so my text was rolling off the side of a mobile device. So all I needed to do is go in and I needed to shrink the sides of that so it actually sat within the column. They're telling me all of this. They're saying, hey, your website will work better if you just do this one thing. And I find it invaluable. I absolutely love this tool.
So what these numbers are showing me is that Kathy's had 45,000 impressions on our website over the last 3 months, and our average click-through rate is 1.6. You know, I was saying that 1 to 3% ratio, absolutely bob on. Really, really, really interesting. Kathy can understand how people find now without having to pay for Google AdWords. So I can see here, social media planner diary, that's up there. Kathy's own brand name is up there. So what that means is Kathy's done a really great job in developing herself as a personal brand business. So when people type in Kathy Ennis, she appears on page 1. That's fantastic. And if anybody's on the call that run their own business and want to be known for what they do, talk to us about how to develop that personal brand, because it's the highest performing page search query that is driving traffic to Kathy's website. Some of her blogs, best business start with low money, she's ranking for that. How much does a mentor cost? How much does a business mentor cost? So all of these queries can be then fed back into Kathy's social media and content strategy, because she already knows that she's had 2,000 impressions on that one search query, best business start with little money. Just go away and do more of that.
Can I say that is a blog that I wrote off using Google Keyword Planner. And you can see that there, that basically it just went, what? Yeah, ballistic. Yeah, some of the others that I've got a couple of hundred and that, but 2,000 on that one thing. And that was a blog purely written using that technique.
I feel very proud. So that's how people found Cafe. And then we'll go into pages and we'll see what the top pages are. So, 5,000 impressions on how much does a business spend to cost. She can look at countries, devices. So knowing Cafe's business and her audience, again, I'm not surprised that desktop is higher than mobile, but she designs for mobile because that's the way forward. Videos and dates, so basically how her traffic is changing over time, so we can get a really good idea of what's working or not purely from this one dashboard. And again, I'm skimming, but you get the gist about how powerful this is.
Yeah, I think that tool was a real eye-opener for me, and I think that it's one of the ones in the Google Toolkit that a lot of people don't know. Web developers would know it, and digital agencies like Emma's, they know it, but it's not one that's sort of shouted about in terms of just us general business owners. So yeah, get in and have a good mooch around is what I would say.
From Kate's side as well to say thank you for pointing out something on her website. She's there and she's had 4 big orders through that site this month so far.
Brilliant. That's great, Kate. That's really good to know.
Okay, Google Trends. So just like the news, just like the alerts, Google Trends is telling you what is happening in your sector and industry. Again, all this is free. I love Google Trends because it helps me plot in advance for us and our clients what's going to basically hit Google. And when we know what's going to hit Google, we can start creating content around that. So I'm just going to share. Just going to share. So when I logged on this morning, I saw that there's been 1 million searches for the Lantern Festival. Not particularly relevant for me and my clients, so I'm going to scroll down and find one that is. So scroll down, keep going. Okay, so Mr. Potato Head. So Kathy and I work with commerce businesses, and basically Mr. Potato Head is now being called Potato Head rather than Mr. Potato Head. But if I could now drop a quick note to our e-commerce clients, say, look, if any of you are doing children's toys and want to kind of jump in on this topic, whether from a Twitter point of view or PR point of view, here's the trend, and there's been 20,000 searches already. So you can be really proactive with this. You can also start to look at what's happening in your industry. So if it's okay, I'm going to use the physiotherapist search term that we looked at before. So this is over the last year, and this is showing me what the interest is, where the interest is, and then the queries. So again, really, really helpful. Google are telling us, go and write a blog about what is a physiotherapist. Go and write a blog about, I can't say that word, Kathy, how'd you say that?
Osteopath.
And here on the right hand side, you can see the percentage that is rising. So 110% trend on what is a physiotherapist. So I'd do that over that one, for example. So, really, really easy. Show you as well and compare. So let's compare those two search terms. So you can see that osteopath is actually better interest. So let's look at what's happening there. Oh, look, cranial osteopath. What is an osteopath doing? Baby osteopath. So again, if I was writing blogs, this one is breakout, which means it's really on the rise. Look at this. I don't know why that's saying it's on the rise at the minute, because the data isn't showing that, but anyway. This one. It's going up there. So the point is that they've already done all this keyword research for me. All I need to do now is make sure that I write stuff where I can put in those keywords, illustrate it, write 500 words, load it onto my website that's running properly. And I'm not saying Bob's your uncle, but I'm saying a lot of that hard work has been done for you by Google.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want things that make it easier for us. So not everybody's as creative, not everybody has sort of blinding light moments. Often business is a slog, and we know getting our message out can be a slog. And actually, the key is keep writing the same thing but slightly differently, and this is a way you can actually start to find out how to do that, rather than you necessarily being the person that invents it all for yourself.
Okay, for anybody that's got a directory website or a kind of aggregator site, is happy to take third-party ads on your website. You can start making money using something called Google Adsense. So it's not going to be for the websites that are company or brand websites. So I wouldn't use Google Adsense because I don't want a third-party ad on my website, and Kathy wouldn't either. But if I had a directory site that featured 100 of the best physiotherapists around the country, then I'd absolutely be using this to get a little bit more revenue. So I'm just going to log in really quickly. Google.
Emma, can I ask you with this then? So say, for example, I was a cookery school, but I wanted to get some ad revenue, or I wanted to get some payment from this. If I chose to have some ads that were about baking equipment or that kind of stuff, that would be relevant for a business like mine.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Or if I was a yoga teacher and it was like yoga mats and yoga clothing and those kinds of things, that would be okay.
Yeah, exactly. So Liz on the call, Liz Windle, potentially Liz's ad could appear on a yoga directory, because Liz does lots of nice leggings and gym wear, etc.
Yeah.
So let me share screen. So the idea is that you earn money from other people placing their stuff on your website. You let people bid for the privilege, and you basically choose what ads are going to appeal. So basically you can kind of blacklist the stuff that you don't want, and you can customize where the ads appear and what size of the ads, because you don't want a massive ad at the top of your homepage. It's going to obliterate all of your stuff. You want a subtle ad on the right hand side, for example. So you've got absolute choice over what appears on your website, what they say and where they appear. You just need to understand that somebody else is on your website, so you need to make sure that it's the correct brand fit. So if I was a medical company like Kate's, and someone said to look, I've got some blogs around how to eat healthy, that might be all right, but competitive products wouldn't be all right. X-rated stuff wouldn't be all right. So you've always got the choice, but it can be a way for the appropriate website to gain a little bit more revenue.
Yeah, and I think I think these are the things that we might handle with care. It is a way to get a little bit of revenue, but it is a little bit. It's very drip, 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 tiny amounts. It does have to be relevant, and we've all been onto those websites where they've got multiple ones running, and you're trying to get to the thing that you're trying to find, and you have to keep going through all of these multiple layers of ads that they've got. That's the thing that you definitely want to avoid like the plague. But if it's appropriate, as with all of these things, if it's appropriate, if it's something that sits well with you, if it's something that you feel that you would want to share with your audience, maybe it's something you get asked about all of the time. Not all, say, Pilates teachers offer that you can buy maybe a Swiss ball from them, but they might encourage their people to buy one, so it would be appropriate for them to have that. But you do need to approach it with caution, I think.
Be aware, do the checks and balances.
Absolutely.
Oh, we had a question about that. Yes, Kate, you do get to choose which ads. Yeah.
So and I think that's the thing that a lot of people get really scared about, that they say, yeah, I want to do this, and then they think that all of these unknown ads or these not appropriate ads might come on, but you can actually specify which you don't want as well as which you do.
Yep.
Google Ads. Google Ads in 5 minutes, Emma.
Okay, right, okay, I'm up for that challenge. Right, okay, so right, let me just go into Google.
I mean, I will throw like a proviso in here and back up what Emma's just said, that Google Ads is not something to go into lightly, and it's not something to go into if you haven't budgeted for it. It can really work, but you have to have the, I think you have to have the patience, and you have to do it right. I mean, I think this is one of the key things, because it is costly. If you don't get it right from the very beginning, it can cost you a lot of money. If you do a bad sort of Facebook ad and you've only put 20 quid behind it, that's not going to be a big problem. But if you do Google Ads not well, that can cost you quite a lot of money.
So Kathy and I were talking to one of our clients last week about her business, which is ethical children's wear, so organic cotton, no harmful packaging, no plastic waste. And we were looking at sustainable children's clothing as a search term. Here are the different ways that she could use Google Ads. So up the top here, we've got what's called Google Shopping Ads. So you pay for the privilege to put your product and a link to your website. And these are going to be kind of your top payers, if you like, in terms of results and costs, because obviously they're pictorial, they've got a direct link, people are going to pay big money to get there. When we scroll down, we've got normal Google search results. So people have paid to get to the top of the page. So there's two slots there, and I think there's 3 or 4 at the bottom. Okay, I've only got 1 at the minute, but there's potentially 3 or 4. And then in the middle, you've got your SEO results. So what we were saying to this particular client is, and I can't even remember what the bid price was, but each one of those are probably going to be paying, was it about £2.50 per click? I can't remember.
At least that, yeah. It was a big amount of money to be up there in the shopping.
It was a huge amount. So basically they were paying kind of £2.50 per click to get up here, probably £1.50. And then in the middle, we were looking at who was ranking. It was John Lewis, Independent, Next, Mother and Baby, some of the Mother and Baby magazines, huge amounts of money. So we were saying to this client, you know, you're starting from ground zero. If you haven't got thousands of pounds you're spending on Google Ads, which she definitely doesn't, you're going to have to really, really, really concentrate on your SEO and your social media to drive traffic to your website. Because quite frankly, right now, she can't compete with John Lewis or Independent, and we wouldn't expect her to. And she hasn't got the £2.50 per click for these shopping campaigns. Again, we're not saying this is a bad thing, but we tell her the lie of the land. When we go into Google Ads, I'm just going to stop sharing, going to Google Ads. We can show her what the cheaper ways of doing stuff is. So,
yeah, and just while Emma's doing that, just to pick up on, you know, she said that you're paying per click. Okay, so if something gets in front of 10,000 people, 100 people might decide that they want to click on it. So you're paying £2.50 per click. Only one of those people, or up to 3 of those people, might decide to buy that thing. If that thing costs £12.99, and you've paid 100 times £2.50 to get those 3 people to actually purchase, there's a massive loss for you. So we're not saying don't do it, but I think you do really need to go at this with eyes wide open, and some money to spend. And it's probably not the best place to go first off if you're a new business, because it can be really costly.
What I've done here is I've done a search for this company called Fugu, which is one of the ranked people that are paid for Google Ads on the page that I just did. And I'm going to be looking at their keywords. So just going to organic keywords, because I'm going to be telling my client what to expect to pay. So here, if they were thinking of competing with search term organic baby clothes, they're looking at £1.30 click on Google Ads. It's 1,500 search terms a month. So I'd be immediately writing blogs about organic baby clothes because they haven't got £1.30 right now. Let's go for something cheaper. So that's £1.30. Organic cotton baby clothes, even more expensive, £1.60. But if I change that to organic children's clothing, it's only 90p. So you can see here the difference in terms of what it might cost you on Google. But if you still haven't got the 90p, go away and write it on your blogs, your emails, your social media, etc. We might look here and think, oh, that's cheap. Baby Legionnaire's hat is only 60p per click, but there's only 80 searches a month. So you want to balance out something that's getting loads and loads of searches. It's going to cost you a lot of money. Go away and do it organically. And then potentially if you have got 60p, you could run a campaign on Google Adwords for Baby Legionnaire's hat, knowing it's only going to cost you this. You wouldn't be expecting daily leads because there's not enough traffic, but you'd get a nice balance at a kind of affordable rate. I'm conscious of time. There's so much to talk about on Google Ads, but I'm hoping that that might give you a clue as to looking at what a campaign might cost you and then deciding whether that's right for your business.
Yeah.
Claire in chats asked, what has better click-through rate, Facebook ads or Google ads? So what I personally would say is the click-through rates can be the same, but for me personally, Google Ads is a higher conversion because people actively want your stuff. Whereas when you're on Facebook and you're scrolling through and you're looking at someone's cat, dog, niece, nephew, wedding, etc., you're not necessarily in that buying purchase thought. Whereas on Google, you're physically typing in, I want a children's baby grow. Whereas on Facebook, you might see that ad and think, oh, that's nice baby grow, but you might not be compelled to do it. Whereas on Google, you physically are making that search. Yeah,
and I think they fulfill slightly different purposes. So yeah, that little bit of apples and oranges there in terms of comparison.
And I say as well on the cost per click. So we get clicks from Facebook to your websites for like 10p. Really, really cheap. So you look at that Google AdWords and you go, oh my God, £1.90 and I can get it for 10p on Facebook. Why wouldn't I just do it on Facebook? It's because quality of the traffic might not be as good as the one from Google AdWords. In some cases, it's probably better to be spending £1.90 and getting high conversion compared to throwing lots of mud on Facebook and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, and I think there's so many factors that you need to bring in as well, such as your business, what are you selling, maybe the cost per item that you're selling, maybe your target customers' buying behavior. All of those kinds of things need to be mixed up in there in order for you to think about where the ultimately the best place might be. And I think that if you're getting into sort of like the ads side of things and you haven't done it before, and you know that part of your audience is on, say, Facebook or Instagram, then for me, it's something that you can manage slightly more low cost, that you can cut your teeth on to get an understanding of how people behave. But when you're going into Google, it really does mean that you've got to sit and have a really well worked out strategy, know exactly how much you want to spend, because it can. I will just tell the story of extensions really, because I knew somebody who paid quite a lot of money for some Google ads on extensions. She was a hairdresser. Unfortunately, everybody that contacted her wanted a builder. And so she spent a lot of money, and all of the stuff that came through were people that were looking for house extensions and not hair extensions. So, it's really about knowing your stuff and knowing what you want to achieve where Google comes in, but it's blooming effective. So
3 minutes, handing back to Kayleen, I think.
yeah, absolutely. That's our lot, and we hope that
Done.
we hope we've given you loads of things to do over the weekend. You can go and check all of those things that we've told you to go and look at.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm just saving the download link that I'll put in the post-event email. So yeah, just to say thank you so much for hosting, presenting. I was hosting, although I don't feel I did much job, much needed to do much of that. Sorry.
Your support, your moral support. That's what it is.
Thank you so much again for presenting another brilliant virtual event with us. We are very fortunate that Kathy and Emma are doing a few more virtual events with us. So again, I'll include those in the post-event email. Off the top of my head, there's an SEO one, what is pay-per-click? And there is another one, top 10 social media apps, I think.
Yeah, the creative apps. Yeah.
Yes. So again, I'll include those in the post-event email, and again, they are complimentary, so feel free to book on. So yeah, it's just to say thank you so much. I've put a link to the survey, as we always like, event feedback, to make sure that we're giving you what you want. So yeah, have a fantastic Friday. I hope you have a lovely afternoon and weekend. It sounds like you've all got some amazing plans ahead of you, and I look forward to seeing Kathy's before and after furniture transformation as well. Is there anything else you two would like to say before we close?
I would just always thank you for letting me come over the border from Essex to Norfolk. It's always a pleasure. I feel it's a bit like my second home now, and I'm really glad everyone found that of value. I've popped the link in if anybody wants a deeper dive, because I'm so conscious that, like, I speak fast and there's so much to cover. We can take it a bit slower on a free one-to-one session.
Yeah, that's what I was going to reiterate as well, is that if you want to have a chat with us, the calendar link is there. Book something in, and we can take a little bit more time just talking about what is specific to you.
Perfect. Thanks everyone, and see you hopefully soon.
Bye.
Take care.